Hello, I'm Lynn from Lynn Designs, and today I'm going to be making a version of this card, slightly different colourways. I'm using Old Olive, Pacific Point and Rich Raspberry. This is a mint macaron card base. The flowers are rich raspberry and the butterflies are in Pacific Point, so just changing up the green. I've done all the cutting. I'll pop that there out of the way. The card base this time is thick whisper white, and it's a sheet of A4 cut in half and then folded in half at 14.8. I've got a layer of rich raspberry, which is just ½ centimetre smaller, so it gives a nice white frame, and the sheet for stamping on is the thin whisper white. I've already mounted the stamps that I'm using on clear acrylic blocks, and they're polymer stamps that I'm using today. The classic ink pads that Stampin' Up do are brilliant. They actually push on the 3 buttons and it flips round, so the ink is actually stored upside down, which means the pads don't dry out, and I love them. So I'm going to stamp the leaves down the side, one from there, one from the top, one from the bottom, one from the top. I'll clean off my stamps later. So that's really all we're doing in the green. The flowers, what have I done with my paper? This is my first video, so apologies if it's not in focus or my head's in focus or something's wrong. The matching punch, the Stampin' Up punches are brilliant actually. They've got a lock on, so that releases it. But when they're closed, it means that they're folded flat, and I think that's a great feature. And this one coordinates with the punch. Now, the polymer stamps actually do, I know they look pinky there, but they do actually get coloured. Other cheaper brands do as well, but it doesn't actually, the colour doesn't stay on the stamp, it's just the rubber that gets marked. So stamp the flowers, if you slide it in, and just spend a little bit of time getting it where you want it to be, and then punch. They all actually punch out in one go. Absolutely brilliant, I love it. Now I'm going to use 5 flowers. I've already done some, but I'm going to show you. I discovered the other day, I'd been using a blender pen to pull ink off and to colour flowers, but actually the Wink of Stella brush does exactly the same thing, and I think it gives the flowers, to me, as well as giving it a little bit of a shimmer, it gives it a two-tonal look, which I rather like. So I just come across this the other day when I was making one of these cards and thought, I wonder if and it seems to be working. It's worked with every colour that I've tried. These are from the Brights collection. I'm not sure, I haven't tried them with everything, but let's do that one as well. I'm not sure which size flowers I'm going to put on the card this time. I do like changing things up a little bit once I've designed something, and there is a little bit of colour on the brush end, but you just have to swipe it a couple of times and it completely clears. So I think that is amazing. So let's put those to one side. I'm going to do, on the same scrap of card, I'm going to do the sentiment. This time I'm going to do it in Rich Raspberry. So let's hold that down. This is what's called a clear mount stamp. Stampin' Up do 3 types. So there's another punch. This is the decorative label punch, and by putting it in upside down you can actually position it and make sure it is going to cut where you want it to. You can have it off to one side if you want, but I will try and get mine in the middle. There we go. That's fantastic. I'm going to put that on the card with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Just pops them up on there, so I think that makes it look rather lovely. Oh, fingers and thumbs. Put that out of the way, and I'll start putting this together. I like using the Tombow liquid glue that Stampin' Up sells. I store it upside down so it's ready to go, but I sometimes struggle getting things straight, and using the wet glue gives you a little bit of what I like to call wiggle room. I'm sure there's a more technical term. There we go. It's nice to get things straight. Now those flowers for me are a little bit flat, even though I've got a bit of shimmer on them. I'm going to use 5. Just going to use the back end of my paper piercing tool and my bone folder just to curl the edges a little bit, and that softens the card, just stops it looking quite so straight. Which I like the look that that gives. So it's not just a flat bit of card. There we go. Let's pop those up. Now the card is coming to get a little bit of Tombow in the middle. This glue is brilliant because it sticks things wonderfully. And now for the assembly, literally put these in as you like them. That's one of the things I love about homemade cards. You can change it up ever so slightly every time you do it, which means each one is completely individual. So let's pop that under the flower. I think that's rather nice there. There we go. I'm going to use rhinestones. In the centres of the flowers, and there's one little bit left of stamping, and that is the butterflies. I'm going to do that in rich raspberry. I tend not to do more than 3 colours. I think sometimes it can just be a little bit overwhelming if you use too many, but that's just a personal preference. Apologies if my hair and head gets in camera view. I'm still learning. And the butterfly will have one going that way, one going that way, and I will put one on the inside of the card. I always think that's rather nice. And also on the envelope, just because then people know it's a bit of happy mail, because we like getting happy mail rather than, well, I like getting happy mail rather than bills, which seems to be all I get these days. And again, I'm using the Wink of Stella, puts a little bit of glitter on, as I said, but it also pulls a little bit of that rich raspberry colour. And although I've only used 3 colours of ink, that actually looks as if I've used a different colour. Pulling that colour out, and I just think it gives it everything a little bit of, as well as a bit of sparkle, it gives it a little bit of dimension. So we'll do the same to the inside of the card. And the ink doesn't have to be dry, wet, it just pulls a little bit in. You can do as much or as little as you like. And I think that just finishes it off rather lovely. So I hope this tutorial hasn't been, and again, just a couple of swipes and it's completely cleared. So that's a quick romp through. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I will be doing more as I go along.